Guys, I got a table load of stuff here, and we're going to delve into all of this, but we're going to be talking about hurricane preparedness. Growing up and dealing with hurricanes my entire life, I have a pretty good working knowledge of what you need and how to get through a hurricane. But we don't have to just let this stuff just be for hurricanes. It could be for any myriad of emergency situations, Mother Nature or man-made. There's some additional items I don't have out here on the table, but we're going to talk about those too. And all of this will be coming up next, right here on Minuteman Preparedness. All right, guys, so hurricane preparedness. This doesn't have to just be locked down for hurricane preparedness. It can be for any type of preparedness for natural or man-made disasters. Now, FEMA and the Red Cross suggest emergency kits such as this for 72 hours. That's a great starting point, but I would move that out starting at 72, then a week, week and a half, 2 weeks, extend it out because these large-scale natural disasters typically last longer than 3 days. It's a good starting point, like I said, but I would extend it out. So the first thing is water. They suggest 1 gallon of water, potable water, drinking water per person per day. That's for drinking, cleaning, and sanitation needs. That can end up being a lot of water depending upon the size of your family, and don't forget your four-legged friends. So having a good stockpile of water, is something you're going to have, potable water. Also, if you know there's a hurricane or a big storm coming, you can wash out and clean out one of your tubs, fill it up with water, and you can use that water for cleaning, for filling the toilet tank on your toilet. That way you can flush the toilet. But I would also have a secondary system for sanitizing water, such as like a life straw, something like that, that purifies the chemicals out and the contaminants and all those types of things as a backup. There's a lot of different systems out there. I'll have links in the bio for a lot of this stuff and the stuff I use, I own, and recommend. So if you need any of these things and some additional items we're going to talk about, I have the links in the bio. So we'll move on to food. Now, during a disaster, you could be doing a lot of work. So you're going to need a lot of calorie intake and you're going to need protein. So one thing, oatmeal, cheap, easy to fix, calorie dense, sticks in you for a while. It's got a little bit of protein. This is 160 calories for 4 grams of protein. Not the best macros, but it's going to give you some sugar, some calories, some carbs, and a little bit of protein. You want foods that you can store for a long time, easy to carry, easy to prepare, and don't require a whole lot more than really just eating it or boiling water. The next thing here I like is applesauce packs. Not the cup where you have that big bulky cup and a spoon, but the actual packs. You can stick them in your pocket, put them in your book bag. They're easy to store, easy to carry, and they last a pretty good while. So something like that. Low in calories, but super high in protein is like the tuna and the chicken in the packets. They have a really good shelf life. They're thin. You can store a lot of these things. Throw them about anywhere. Gives you a lot of really needed protein. This fast to cook rice, super inexpensive, super high in calories and carbs. Not a lot of protein, a little bit, but it gives you the carbs. Super easy to cook. Just boil some water, put it in there. Then I have some things like some dried strawberries. These last a super long time. Gives you a little something. Dried bananas, super high in sugar. A lot of calories in here, so something else good to have. You necessarily won't be packing a bunch of this in your vehicle or a book bag, but just for general home preparedness, like soups, vegetables, fruits, things like that in the can. These are really nice because they have the pull tab, but I would look for these, but also have a good manual can opener where you can open up cans. I'll have a link in the bio for one that I use. I really like it. It works, honestly, faster than the electric can opener. But canned items, good shelf life, easy to heat up and eat. For the coffee drinkers, instant coffee packs. Mix it in some hot water, gives you that little caffeine boost. and a lot of people are stuck on coffee. So these things here, big morale booster. Water packs, flavor packs, hydration, add into your water, give it a little different flavor, keep you hydrated. And then, of course, for the people that need their Zimbabwe's, Zens, or whatever else you use if you are into the nicotine deal. So we'll move over to hygiene. So like paper towels, toilet papers, baby wipes, trash bags are something you're going to need. Also, the 5-gallon bucket that has the lid you can put on it to use as a toilet is a fantastic option if your toilets are inoperable in the house. I would suggest with that 5-gallon bucket with the toilet lid, Amazon has 8-gallon black trash bags with the pools on top. So what you do is you put that trash bag in the 5-gallon bucket. It overlaps a good bit. You put some kitty litter in there. It absorbs the odors from the ammonia, pulls the liquids together, kind of solids everything up. You can just tie up that black trash bag and toss it. Super great thing to have. Next thing, first aid. A really nice first aid kit is a must-have because you can be your own first responder and probably will be. This one from EverReady, I've done a review of this. I'll have this in the bio in the link too. Super nice. I've added a couple extra things to it, but this here first aid kit can handle a lot. Next thing, ifak, individual first aid kit. We've talked about this and we've talked about a lot of them. This is not Band-Aids and boo-boos. This is tourniquets, chest seals, packing gauze, compression bandages, shears, gloves, MPAs, nasal trumpets, tape, things like that. Massive hemorrhage. Also have some Mylar blankets in there for hypothermia, dealing with March. So dealing with your massive hemorrhage and all that. Also, if you need prescription medications, I would have extras and keep them with this stuff and then rotate them as you go. That way you always have extra prescription medications, inhalers, all those different things you need. And some over-the-counter medications are always nice to have with your stuff, you know, typical stuff you're going to use, you know, migraines, pain relievers, different stuff like that. Always nice to have. And supplements, vitamins and things like that. You could be a little lacking in those areas when you're just kind of dealing with simple foods, easy to prepare stuff. So vitamins are a great thing to have in there. Fire extinguisher and fire blanket for fire suppression. Great things to have. You always need a couple of good fire extinguishers, and a fire blanket is always nice to have. If you've been following along, we know I had an issue with batteries. I'm going to be doing another video on the storage component that I'm putting together for these. But D's, C's, double A's, triple A's, all those types of batteries. Look through the different things that you need batteries for. Some are specific types of batteries, specialized batteries. So make sure you have plenty of batteries. You keep them out of the heat and you keep them out of the humidity in a storage container where they don't touch each other, the ends, so they don't short out and you don't have any issues with humidity and heat. Lighting. This is a really nice lantern from Midland Radios. There's lanterns everywhere. Just have a couple of good battery-powered lanterns where you can light up some areas, whatever you want, really. Good flashlights. I'm a fan of the Nightcore, what is this? The MT1A Pro. It is a USB-C chargeable battery. This is a fantastic flashlight. I love this light. I've done reviews on it. So a couple of good flashlights. Couple of good headlamps, you know, that way you can be hands-free. This one from Princeton Tech has 2 modes of red and 3 modes of white. Super nice, a little more expensive, but Princeton Tech is a great company when it comes to headlamps and lighting options. Also with lighting, I like having chem lights. They're inexpensive. You can mark areas, mark yourself, mark entrances, exits, whatever. Chem lights are a great thing to have. Along with batteries, I forgot to mention, is a good battery bank for charging up your radios, your phones, and things like that. I like Anchor. They're not too expensive. I've never had an issue with them. I own a bunch of different ones. This one from Anchor, though, is a newer one. It has a double head USB-C cord that clips in here to make a little lanyard. Most stuff now requires USB-C, so this is a really great option. Make sure these stay charged up. Use them so it drains them down so you can get a full, complete charge on them. Also, a small, inexpensive solar panel so you can charge these up or charge up your electric items is also a nice thing to have. Communications. So yeah, you'll have your cell phones. The towers may work. They may not work. They may have been damaged. They may not be any power, and the diesel for the backups have ran out. So a couple of really good handheld radios, GMRS or whatever, is a great option. This is the Luntz HA1G. I've done several reviews on this. This radio is a GMRS radio. I jailbroke it, so it operates on UHF and VHF spectrums. I also have it connected to multiple repeaters so I can extend my coverage with this radio if those repeaters are operable. Gives me another great option for communications. Also, the HA1G has the no weather bands on it, so you can monitor the weather in your area. It'll do weather alerts and all these things. So a couple of good handheld radios and a radio that does NOAA if your handheld doesn't have NOAA. Also, one thing to have I don't have here on the tail, I didn't feel like pulling it out, is a good hand crank or battery operated AM FM radio. That way you can stay in tune with local news and weather if you have to. Couple of good lighters is nice to have. I like the big lighters, but you do have to keep your eye on lighters. After a while, they will kind of wear out, start making a mess. So keep a check on your lighters, but have a couple of good lighters with you because you never know when you're going to have to make fire. A notepad and a pen. This is just a simple paper one. I do like write in the rain, but for these purposes, I just put this one out. But a good pad and pen and pencil is something really great to have. Signaling. If you need to get someone's attention, a really good emergency whistle is something nice to have. Also a flash mirror. You can use it, to signal someone on the ground or someone in the air. A mirror and a whistle are a great thing to have. A good fixed blade knife is also a good necessity. A folder, which I didn't put one out. Most of y'all probably carry a folder, but a folder. And a good multi-tool like a Leatherman. Always nice to have. I don't have one out here, but a good toolkit that has, a hammer, your Phillips and flathead screwdriver, sockets, wrenches, small pry bar, large pry bar, maybe a mini sledge. I also like having a big sledgehammer, but just a good number of tools. Hatchets, a saw, things like that, an axe. Duct tape, I like Gorilla brand, super good stuff here. You can repair gear, tarps, and things like that. Also, I don't have out here, but a tarp or a couple tarps are great to have. 550 cord, just some cheap regular cord. Zip ties, can never have too many zip ties. A good pair of work gloves, also a couple dust masks, a little bit of eye pro, a couple sets of goggles, maybe even a hard hat, just kind of depending on your area. You don't want to get bumped, in the head. So, if the mom and pop shop, if the plastic card readers are down, cash is what you're going to need. They may not be able to break 100, so a good little stack of small denomination cash, 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s is something awesome to have. Cash is a great thing to keep with you and have in your kit. Also, copies of your identification documents, if you own your vehicles or your property, copies of the pink slips, registrations, deeds, medical records. Write down a list of names, addresses, and phone numbers of close friends and family, medical records, things like that, and keep it all together. Something else, if you have generators, make sure you keep a check on your generators. I run mine for 30 minutes under a small load every month. I use ethanol-free gas, so I don't have to worry as much about carburetors clogging up, but keep a check on your generators, the gas, the oil, air filter, oil filter. Run them for a little bit, make sure they're operable, make sure you have proper fuel storage for them, and you don't blow your place down or burn it up. Also, along with that, the proper cords, surge protectors, things like that you'll need. Make sure you know how to hook up your generator so you don't burn your house down or backfeed and electrocute the lineman that's working on the line. Vehicles, make sure you keep your vehicles gassed up. Make sure your maintenance is done, your tires are good, your tire pressure is good. Just keep a good general check on your vehicle, because you might have to pack this stuff up, which you should have it in a couple of bags, a large bag, or in a couple of totes stored away in your house where you can throw it in the vehicle and leave if you have to. Water is a heavy thing, so you might not be able to tote all that with you if you're on the move, on foot. That's why I suggest, having some water filtration, a couple metal cups. Also, a couple other things I forgot to mention is utensils. Have plates and utensils that you can toss. You don't have to waste water on cleaning them. And make sure you have a way to boil water, a little rocket stove, a propane grill, something like that you use outside. Make sure your propane tanks are full. Maybe you have a couple extras. And make sure you have a good way of storing this stuff. Like I said, I've dealt with a lot of hurricanes in my life. A lot of this stuff is really nice to have. It can benefit you not just for hurricanes, but any other type of natural disasters or emergency situations. A lot of this stuff overlaps preparedness-wise. If you're prepared for one thing, you can be prepared for something else. One last little thing, self-defense. Make sure you have a means of self-defense. Whatever you want it to be, make sure you have it. Make sure you know how to use it. Make sure it works. And make sure you know what you're doing. But with that, I hope you all stay safe. Have a great day. And Minuteman is out.